Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today is day 1 of JavaScript, and we have achieved a milestone of covering the HTML and CSS module. So today is the first lecture of JavaScript in DDCDP 23, and actually it's day 15. So first 14 lectures were of HTML and CSS, which are on YouTube already, and so today we'll be counting it as JavaScript day 1, day 2 and day 3. Okay, we are calling it days rather than classes, because in class it's just something which we teach and then students leave our office. But since it is internship also, so whatever you are taught in a class, that is practiced by you all here. So that's why we are calling it days rather than classes. So what we will study today actually is just basics JavaScript, and how we will use some editor or where we will write JavaScript code. We will learn how to use script tags, variables, var, let and const, and what are statements or what are expressions. Then the different data types in JavaScript, we will cover these ones, which are the most important ones, and these two are the new ones, but we will cover these 6 in detail. Something called strings is one of the data types, and then concatenation, interpolation, and numbers, what is typecasting. We will just touch what math object does. Then some operators, what are objects, and the null and undefined data types, Boolean and equality. Then we will get into functions. Functions are one of the basic building blocks of JavaScript or any other languages. So why actually we use JavaScript? JavaScript was invented in 1995, and its primary use was for web interaction and interactivity, but now it has evolved into a very broad language. It is not only used in web development, but on servers, in games, game development, on IoT devices, on smartwatches. But our focus in this course, since this is DDCDP and Drupal specific, we will be using enough JavaScript which will help us in our Drupal careers. So primarily our use will be in web, and that's and if you need to switch to in any of these other disciplines, you can do that too, because JavaScript is JavaScript everywhere. So let us start using JavaScript. I have created a folder DDCDP.js. I will just create a file for now, maybe index.html for now. So just bare bone JavaScript 1. Okay, so if I open it in the browser, so anywhere in any browser you can use for testing purposes, you can just use console. So if I open inspect and then go to console, so here I can write JavaScript inside the console. So for example, if I type something, let a is equal to 10, so this is a line of JavaScript. If I type something like we'll get into it, console.log, and I pass 2 values into it, 2 plus 2, so it will give me this result. It will write something to the console. But we are not going to use JavaScript here. We can use it, you can practice it in consoles, but we will use it inside our browser and VS Code. So here for example, if I create another, you can directly use script tag inside the page and write your JavaScript here. just like we used to do CSS. It can be in the head section also, this here, but for some reasons which I will explain you in a bit, we will write it just close before the closing body tag. It used to be the norm a few years ago, but now it can be this is now optional again. We can use it in the head section, but for now we will use it in the body section just before the closing body tag. So we can write, for example, this is inside the script. We will write alert hello JavaScript, right? So the page refreshed, and here we are seeing a prompt hello JavaScript. Is this fine? Okay, so it means this code in our HTML file is running fine. Okay, you can test it. You can call it console.log, just like in the console. So now it will write this stuff to console. So alert is a bit annoying. It opens above the page, on the top of the page, and then you will have to click it so that it goes away. Normally for testing purposes, what we do is we write console.log and then the whatever you want to log. So if I go to this file again and go to the console, inspect console, so you will see hello JavaScript written, right? So console.log actually is a function which we run to output something into console. Okay, so I will go to the things we need to study today so that we are in the line. So we have we are using VS Code already, and then using script tags we are writing JavaScript inside the file. But just like CSS, you can link JavaScript as well. So we will create a new file and we will call it first.js. In first.js we will write, for example, alert. Then this is .js file, so you don't need to enclose it inside the script tags because this already is JavaScript. Here we will hello from first.js file, and at the end you not always, but it's always advisable to use semicolon at the end of the line in JavaScript. Now I will delete this script tag and use script src equals, and you will link that first. So since it is in the same folder, we will just use first.js and then script. You have not to write anything inside these two script tags. It's just there actually. This is not a self-closing tag. So what we have done is we have linked this JS file, first.js file, in this HTML document. And if I just preview it again, this is saying hello from first.js file, means it has been linked properly, right? So we will be writing JavaScript inside the first.js, and we will be seeing results herein. So using script tags is what we have covered. Now I will make them bold. Now something about variables. So I will go to first.js, and what is variable? Anybody?
So variables are the container to store some data or some number.
Okay.
So variable has just memory stored data.
You can change it. Its value can be changed at any time.
Yes. So almost all of you are right. So let us actually in JavaScript you can call variables as pointers. So for example, I have 12 oranges somewhere, right? And I give I write something on the wall, say for example oranges, right? So those text oranges is referring to those 12 oranges. So they are actually pointing to something. They actually, normally we say we are saving something. You can call it saving in a variable to be, but if you dig into it, actually, for example, there are 12. For example, these are all oranges. Okay. So if I write something like oranges, or let us do it with var first. Oranges is equal to this, and then semicolon is at the end of the JavaScript line. So actually this means these are those oranges, and we have pointed this text to those oranges actually. Okay, so you can say variables actually are pointing to some data. Variables are pointing to some data. So for example, this is some text Pakistan, right? And I create a variable called country. So if I type Pakistan here, so this thing which is known to JavaScript, it is pointing to this text Pakistan. So we can say it's Pakistan is being stored in country, but actually this country is a pointer to the data Pakistan. You got it?
Yes.
So, but we can in general language we can say we are saving something in a variable, but actually just for the concept you should know that this is pointing to something, to some data, right? Okay. So for old JavaScript developers, they know what var is, and now after ES16 or 2015, the newer JavaScript versions, they have started to use let and const. So we will study both, all three actually. Okay. So before 2015 or 16 or ES16, the newer version of JavaScript, only var was going to be used in JavaScript. So how we assign it a value? So for example, var text is equal to 2.5. So what this means is, this is a variable text and it has a number value right now. This one is a variable and it has string value, and strings are always enclosed in quotations. So that's why if we, for example, do something like this and just go to our page and then go to console, uncaught reference error word Pakistan is not defined, for example, because Pakistan is a string actually, and it is assuming it as another variable right now. So where is it? So we will always enclose it in quotes. Strings are enclosed, and string is in any programming language there are strings. So strings actually is text, and this is number. Var something is equal to 10. So all of these are variables. This is variable, this is variable, this is variable, right? Now there is some, so we can use let also. Let country equals India, then semicolon, right? Similarly, we can use const continent equals Asia. We can use single quotes also, double quotes also, and then if we when we go to strings, we will use literal strings also, backticks actually. So const is const is used for it's a very strange sort of keyword. It is a variable, but the keyword is const. So normally variables, for example, if I reassign a variable, reassign means so whatever is on the right side, it should be assigned to a variable right here. So for example, if I do country is equal to Japan, so what do you think will be inside country right now? Pakistan or Japan? This is known as reassigning. So for example, I just type console.log country Notice one thing, once you pass something into a function, or once you are using variables, you don't use quotes while passing them. There is difference between console.log country and console.log without country. What is the difference?
So it will print the country. If it have a quotation in the console, so it will print exactly that word.
Yeah,
And if it don't have a quotation, so it will print the variable.
exactly. This is string actually, because we have used quotes with it, passing it to the function, and this doesn't have any strings, so means this is a variable. So if we check the console now, we already have this error, country has already been declared at this line 5. Okay, so line 5, so country is not being reassigned for some reasons.
Yes.
This is going to be something with constant also. Okay, so for example, I'll for now remove it, and let us check these two.
So refresh the where variable.
Refresh the thing.
5. And if a country has already been declared on line 10, are we using it somewhere else also? Line 10, yeah. Let us comment them for now, because we are going to check these two. So we have two lines, console.log country and console.log country. Both are country, but one has quotes and another one is without quotes. So if we just check it, so first console is this, it is on line 8. It is literally passing the string country to the function console.log, but this one is passing the variable which was defined here. Is this okay? That's the difference. So maybe initially you get into such errors, you might have used quotes with the variable name. In that case, it is not used as a variable, it's just used as a string. Okay, next we will use let. So let country is equal to for now just comment it out. Let country is equal to Bangladesh, and if we just move these lines below Bangladesh, so it will be printing Bangladesh, right? Then let us reassign country. So country is equal to Afghanistan, and if I print these out again, what are you expecting? Country is Afghanistan, because this means let has allowed us to reassign the value of the variable. So initially country was Bangladesh, and we printed out this, so country was Bangladesh, but then we reassigned the value of country to Afghanistan, right? Notice we don't use let again with such stuff, just the name of the variable then is enough, because it already has been defined, right? So this reassigns the value of country. Initially it was Bangladesh, but now country is Afghanistan, and it has been changed. If we do the same with const, let us change const country Bangladesh, and now if we try to assign country Afghanistan, so what are you expecting? Because const variables like these are not allowed by JavaScript to be changed. Okay, yeah, reassigning is not allowed. but this is only true for such variables. Once we go to objects and arrays, then it does something differently. We will check that later on, but for now, if we check it, so even the error says assignment to constant variable, type error, assignment to constant variable. So const, if you have used const, it won't allow you to reassign a variable. One more thing, normally pro JavaScript developers usually, if they are not going to reassign any variables in a program, they use const mostly with variables. Var is not used now. Either let is used or const is used. So in case if you are not going to reassign values and you know it, you should use const, but let is also fine, right? So we can use both interchangeably as well at times. For example, if there is an API key or something like this which you want never to be changed in a program, you can use const. Hope this is clear. Can we move on? Okay. Something which we'll check later on, but var is functional scope and let and const are block scope. So we will get into it once we are into scopes. Okay. Okay, something about statements, and you can also Google yourself about statements and expressions. Statements. This is very confusing. You always forget it, but once you are into JavaScript, you will know what these two are. So, for example, I go to something like console.log 2 plus 2. So this 2 plus 2 actually is expression. Okay, this 2 plus 2 is expression. Once JavaScript does something, it returns a value or evaluates a value. This is expression. And if you, for example, like this is a statement. Content Asia. This is a statement. This is an expression. So expressions, and you can even, for example, sum is equal to 2 plus 2. So this is statement also and expression also, because this is going to be something. Okay. So this is not very important to know the difference between the two, but these are two terminologies. You can Google about them yourself as well. So statements and expressions. But once you start using any programming language, and JavaScript is no difference, you will know, you will be just get you will have got used to using these two. Now we are going to something called data types. Okay, so JavaScript has these 8 data types. These two are newer ones, symbol and begin. Begin probably has come in 2020 if I am not wrong, but these are the mostly used, which I use personally. So we will be using these, learning these in this lecture. String, number, object, boolean, null and undefined. And these two are very important also to know what actually null and undefined are, because they are also very confusing at times. So let us start with strings. I will comment all of these for now. What's that shortcut?
Control /
On Mac it is command. We can have multi-line comments also, but this is doing it as a single lines. So multi-line are, for example, this, and then and single lines are double slash. Okay, so let us start with strings. String in normal language you can call them text. Okay, So for example, I create a variable, let slogan equals this, and then get used to writing JavaScript like this. Let the keyword, then the variable, and then equal sign, and then quotes, single or double or whatever, and then the last exclamation mark. But then get inside the quotes and write something like what should be the slogan? Pakistan Zindabad. Okay, so this slogan now contains some text, contains or points to this text, Pakistan Zindabad, right? So it can be in single quotes also. This is just preference, and double quotes also. And then the newer version of JavaScript lets you use backticks. So that's very powerful, and there was much backticks. If you on your keyboards on the left of one, you will see a backtick. So yeah, so this is backticks. So all of these three are legal usage of something which you enclose strings with. So Pakistan Zindabad is in single quote. If I just console.log slogan, remember we use console.log for testing purpose. So Pakistan Zindabad is the slogan. Now there are, if we are using double quotes, and what is escape character? Anybody? Do you know what is escape character? Okay, I will move it back to double quotes right now. So I will type something like, please bring pizza for me. Okay, so I want the pizza to be wrapped in double quotes. I want pizza to be wrapped in double quotes. So what I will do is I will do this and this. Do you think this is legal now? Because even it is showing red, because JavaScript thinks the string started here and it is ending here.
Yes, sir.
So here then we have, but I have to show the double quotes in pizza in double quotes.
Yes, sir.
So JavaScript is now confused. Is this ending this here, this quote, or this? What is this? I mean, it's totally confused right now. So what you do is, if you have to print something in the text which has double quotes, this quote. So what you will do is, you will use backslash like this in front of it. So it will now, JavaScript interpreter will ignore this quote, and it will not be the last quotation mark
Yes, sir.
of the string. So now it understands that JavaScript needs to print this quote. Similarly with the second one, like this. Now it won't have any errors. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
So if we go to the browser, so it's now printing it inside the pizza, inside the quotation marks. Is it fine? Previously it was assuming this to be the closing text. So one of the ways is this. Another one is, if I remove this, in such scenarios what we used to do a few years back was to break it into sub strings, So for that purpose we will make please bring one portion, then plus. This is known as concatenation operator. Concatenation operator means the operator which joins two strings. So now this is plus, and then we will remove the last one as well, and then another plus. This will have another plus, and here we can use small ticks, single ticks, and double quote this, and plus is because this is also string, so again a plus, and this pizza and plus. You will do some concatenation practice today, okay, with something like this, so that you are not lost. And then the final one is again a quotation mark, single quotation mark with a double quotation mark. So if you refresh it, so it is again the same. So it's up to you if you are going to break the strings into substrings and then join them with pluses, or use the escaping character. So let us, please bring is one part of the code, then plus means join it with this. So then this is quotation mark, first one, then this is the pizza string, okay, and then this is the second quotation mark, and it is being enclosed as a in single ticks, okay, single quotes. So it makes it this one, please bring pizza. Okay, one thing which is known as, if you have to use variable inside a string, variable inside a string. So for example, I declare a variable here, let food type equals pizza, okay. If let food type equals pizza, I will just copy this for now and paste, so that you understand what I actually mean, and I will comment this line, okay. Let food type is equal to pizza. Now now I want this pizza to be this food type. So what I will do, food type. Now this will be evaluated, this variable will be evaluated in, rather than so if we go, still is pizza. Now if I change just the type of pizza to burger, for example, what do you think will be output there? I'm not changing it here,
Please bring burger.
it will be then burger. So this is burger, right? Okay, so let me comment this line also. So this is how you do you use variables inside strings. But I will copy it again and show you something. Please bring, for example, I just want to use the variable here, please bring food type. Food type, right? Okay, so what will it output?
Please bring food type, sir.
Please bring food type.
So food type or burger?
Food type.
Why?
Because it considered as a string. So
Exactly,
inside the
exactly.
quotation, considered as a
That's what I wanted to show you. So this is not taken as a variable right now, it is taken as a string. So if we just check it, it will show please bring food. So in order to make a variable output as its actual value, what we do is we break the string. So we break the string means we enclose it in its parts, then the concatenation, and then the plus sign. So now it will show please bring and food type. Food type is the variable. Is it okay? So now it is please bring burger. Okay, if you understand this, as I had told you yesterday as well, if you understand this logic of concatenation, so in PHP there is dot for concatenation. So if it was PHP, I would have used simple dot as concatenation. All the concept is the same. That's why I was saying just learn JavaScript good enough and you already have learned like 70-80% of the PHP as well. Okay, so we will leave it as this. So with the latest version of JavaScript, there is now this backticks. Where are the backticks? This one. These are backticks.
Sir, if we do it like this, why we use the backticks when we load columns?
That's just an option. The escaping character you mean?
Yeah.
So these are one of 2 or 3 or more ways how you can interpolate.
The base.
Yeah, you if in case you have in a string you want to use variable, right, and you want to show use double quotes, for example. So you will do this. If we use single quotes, so again we are going to have some problem. So let us address that. For example, let slogan2 is equal to, if you use single quotes, okay, I am now using single quotes, and I just say he is a good boy, so it's all fine, okay. But in case I want the apostrophe, he is a good boy, now again JavaScript is confused because I have to print it as it is, and I have used single quotes. So again the question is what we will use? Escaping character. So escaping character makes JavaScript know that this second single quote is not the closing one. It's you have to print it like this. So we will use single like this. And if I just slogan2, so if we if I output it, it will be outputting the he is also. Got it? And if I have to, for example, there is another let student is equal to, this is a variable Jamal, and I will use and his name is Jamal. If I want to now use Jamal here, okay, so if I use student as a variable, it won't be output
Yes, sir.
because this is inside the text.
Inside the quotation.
This is not outputting, it is outputting it as a literal string, which is this student. So what we can do is, then you break the strings into subparts so that is evaluated. So for example, here we will break it. Breaking means make a part of it,
Yes, sir.
and then you have to join them too. So that is done by concatenation operator plus, right? And I will remove the last one. Even if again I do this, for example, so this is again not evaluating the variable, it is again string. So we will use, if in order to make the variable, can anybody tell me how is it being output right now? Is and name will be will have no space. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Why? Is and let us see it. There is no space between two. So how to give it space? Either I will give a space here,
Double quotation.
or we can also use another branch of the concatenation, and then single quotes or double quotes, whatever, and then a space. So these are now 3 chunks of strings combined via concatenation. Got it? Okay, so the latest versions have something called of JavaScript has something called backticks. These ones, literal strings or whatever. We will template literals. They can also be called probably. So we will again use something, and this is very powerful. It lets you use variables inside it as you like. So for example, we will create slogan or mission, for example. Let mission is equal to providing quality education to, and I will close it for now, and here we will let 2 is equal to the nation. So I have created a variable called 2 which has this string in it. Now I want providing quality education to और यहाँ and here we will use the to variable, right?
Yes, yes.
So again I will break it and then just like I did here. So if I use backticks, these ones, it has an advantage. What's that? I will just use dollar sign and then the middle brackets. These curly brackets, they are called to. So with the backticks one, we don't need to break the strings into pluses. Got it? What it lets us do is we can use the dollar sign and then the middle braces and then the name of the variable. So this actually lets it evaluate as the strings inside the variables inside the strings. So if I just console.log mission, so what are you expecting now? So providing quality education to the nation, right? This variable has been evaluated now because of using the backticks. These are the backticks surrounding the string and then this one. Okay, you can also use, for example, if I use another variable dollar sign and this, the JavaScript expressions, and our population is, for example, just anything 10 plus 15. So inside these middle brackets something called JavaScript expressions can be used. So even calculations can be made inside the strings, which was not previously easily possible in the single quotation and the double quotation concept, because again if you do it in this in the old style, you will again have to make a chunk of this and then you will use this calculation. Where is by delete? So now if and it has been evaluated as well. I mean something which is in the curly brackets, inside the curly brackets, it will be calculated by JavaScript for you within these strings. And this can, even here if we needed to write something, for example, let HTML is equal to some divs and that, for example, div class is equal to, and then welcome to JS, and then a closing div. If we need to write JavaScript inside, HTML inside the JavaScript, so here we will type, if it has classes, so let us give some Talent class of absolute, for example. Okay, so technically this is 100% correct HTML. Div class is equal to absolute and welcome to JS div, right? But what's the problem with it right now? Anybody?
Because it is not concatenated, because it considered as a string, that's why.
Exactly, it has the same problem.
Yes, sir,
So what we can do is we can use the either escaping characters so that these are output like this, or whatever. If for example this is let classes is equal to absolute and then p dash pt dash 3 or whatever, for example these are Talent classes, okay, and you need to use these classes as the variable here. I mean classes can be anything, so if you use classes, do you think it will output, it will be output as because the same problem again. So what you will do is you will break it like this, plus break it here as well, and plus this is another chunk, and then this. So now it will be evaluated, right? It is very tough, but if we do the same, let HTML to HTML2. Okay, one thing I forgot. In JavaScript, the convention is to use camel case characters. What is camel case?
The first,
Is upper and
the first letter will be small and it will followed by the second letter. Second letter will be capital.
Second word.
Word.
So for example, HTML for, I can write it as for backticks. Okay, so these are three words actually. HTML is one, for is second, and back. So the convention for JavaScript, this is absolutely fine if we write something like this, or even underscores for the variable names, right? But the convention means the style is that we will use camel case. So camel case is to capitalize the second word. So HTML for, and backticks is the third one, so back. And maybe even if you need to do this, so it's fine as well. So variable names are like this. So let HTML for backticks is equal to, enclose it inside this, and we will do the same again. Def class is equal to, so def class is equal to, and then close the div. Welcome to JS. This is relatively easier, right? We don't need to escape double quotes because we are using backticks. Also here, if we have to use the same class, this one, classes, what we will do? Dollar sign. Where is dollar sign? This, then the curly brackets, and then the variable. That's it. Is this fine?
Yes.
So it will, this one and this one, these two are identical. Okay, so you should practice both. Maybe you end up on some older code where people have used these styles, and the newer code you will see people using this style, right? So both of them are now the same. Is this clear? Good. The next is number and objects, right? So number is let zakat value is equal to 2.5, for example. So this zakat value is a variable and this is a number, right? In other languages, maybe this is 2.5 is something called a float or a decimal data type. But in JavaScript, even if there are points or decimals in a number, they are called numbers, right? So let tax rate. So this is camel case. Okay, tax rate. The second one is capital is equal to, say, 10. So both of these are numbers, right? Okay, one thing we can check type of something. It will show us here. We can, as we are using the same index.html, so all the variables which we have defined in that JS file are available in console also for us. So if we type of what's that variable? Tax rate. Type of this.
So zakat will.
One is tax rate, and sorry, this is error. Okay, zakat value is this. Where is this? Type of is a keyword if you want to check what's the type of a particular variable or value. Okay, so type of zakat value, it shows it up here, zakat value, and intersects the number. Okay, similarly type of classes, we have a variable classes also, if you remember. So classes is string, right? Okay, one thing, let some, is equal to 11 plus 13. So what's the output of this? 24. So if we just console.log sum there, console.log sum, so what it will be? Sum is not defined. Maybe we need to save and then refresh. Console.log sum 24, right? This is 24. Okay, now if I just let sum2 equals 11 plus 13, what will be the output of this?
11 plus 11 and 13.
Error is coming.
Sir, 11 and 13.
11 13. If we just console.log it, or maybe there, console.log sum2, so it is 11 13, because this is an addition operator. Plus is addition operator for numbers only. If on both sides there are numbers, but if enclosing this 13 in quotes means this is now a string. So whenever on one side there is string and on the other side there is number, JavaScript converts this one into string also, and this then becomes concatenation operator, not the plus ones. Plus one. Okay. So if there is ever with a number a string on either side of the operator, it means it will then concatenate it, right?
Yes.
And even if we just type if I just type of just 13 for example, so it will be number, right? But if I type of quotes 13, so it will be string. This is the difference. Okay. Now object, and this is a very interesting one. Probably in your JavaScript careers you will be using objects a lot. Okay, even the entitlement configuration files, you are actually changing values inside the object, and this is also called dictionary. So in objects, what actually are objects? So let us do something. For example, I have to define a student, okay, and so I will create a let or const whatever student. Is it defined here? Yeah. Let us for now just comment it out. Okay, so let student is equal to, so object, actually you can consider object as a very complex sort of cupboard. Actually you can at any given time, if you are confused about what data types are, so you need to place something in somewhere in the program, okay, some data somewhere in the program, so you can call it cupboards. Okay, so student is for example a file, physical file. So for that purpose we will create a curly brackets, and then at the end this and this. So let student is equal to this. Right now it is empty, so it can have properties. So name is equal to, for example, of arc, then it follows with a comma. It can have more than one elements in it, properties. So technically they are called properties. So the student is the wrapper, the cupboard, for example, and then it has sections. These are sections, you can call sections, and they are technically called properties. So let student is equal to name of arc. So name is a string, that's why we have enclosed it in quotations. If for example we have something called rating, so his rating is for example 90, so this is a number, so we haven't enclosed it inside the quotations, and then a comma as well. If I don't give commas between the properties, there will be error. For example, the class is JavaScript. JavaScript again is a string, so we have to enclose it inside this. Okay, now this is an error because within each property, after each property, you will have to use a comma. Now the error has gone, right? We will come back to this property after we study functions, because we can have methods inside the objects also, functions inside the objects which are called methods. So once we study functions, we'll be back into it. But for now, this is now an object which is student, name is Afaq, rating is 90, and class is JavaScript. After the last one, it is optional, you should not use any comma after the last property. Okay, so we have now, and in JavaScript these are used, these objects are used for a collection of variables inside a collection. So for example, student is a wrapper around those variables, and then we can use them inside a program. This is known, this is used for settings, mostly settings. If you have something, we will practice it once we are into it. So for settings, mostly objects are used, and for libraries they are used. So it has a lot of uses. So for example, now I want to access some of these properties and print them in console. So for example, console.log, and I need to access class. Okay, so what it will be, student dot class, student dot class, that's it. So what it will output, JavaScript. So this is actually, if for example here we have used a lot of variables, but they are all over the place, just open inside, just like in HTML you enclose things inside divs. Similarly in JavaScript you should enclose things inside objects so that they are controlled, they are inside something. So console.log, you will call student, the name of the object, and then dot property. So actually this is like this, name of object dot property name, something like this. Okay, okay, if I have to print this rating, so what I will do, console.log student.rating, that's it. And if we check it, so they will have been, where is it, student is a, okay, yeah.
Some objects can be initialized with const.
With const?
Yes, sir.
Before 920, let me just check. Actually it wants me to on line 20 we have used it somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can use const or let before variables. We should always, I think, comment out all the code before something new, okay, so that we are not ending upon some errors. So let us, is this fine? So this is JavaScript and this is 90. It is printing it out, right? JavaScript and 90, because we were using it, the name of the variable was student, that's why it was causing errors. We will stop here, but we will come back to objects a bit later once we study functions, because this is one of the most complex things also. Initially may seem very, especially with the use of this keyword. You might have used this keyword, which is very tricky. So we will come back to objects a bit later. The next thing is Booleans. What are Booleans? If yes or no, or 1 or 0, or true or false, whatever. And this is what is the main purpose of Booleans normally in programs.
Conditions.
Exactly, they are used in conditions to decide between two things, for example, normally. So for conditions, Booleans are used. So we will define, for example, let us comment this also out. Okay, so we will create a variable let fee. This is again camel case, so fee paid is equal to true. Fee paid is equal to true, right?
Yes, sir.
So and for now we will go into detail how we use if else statements, but for now just check if fee paid, so we can do something else something else, right? So for example, we will check the variable fee paid. If it is true, so it will take this block of code, otherwise it will come here, right? So if fee paid, so what we can do, console.log student has paid fee, thanks. ठीक? And else if fee paid okay, one thing, this if checks for trueness, for example. So we can use this thing is equal to true, but that is self understood, so we don't use it. Fee paid means if it is true, so then do this, otherwise do write this, student has not paid fee, what should be, no thanks, right? So now student has paid fee, thanks. Why? Because the variable is true. But if I just change this to false now, so what will be the output? The second line.
Yes, sir. No else.
So it not paid fee, no thanks, right? Just based on one boolean value, program gets changed, right? So for example, you are logging in PHP or any other language, or even JavaScript maybe. If you are logging into a site and you have given credentials, name and password, whatever, so we can, this is a programming practice, we can create a variable called authenticated. By default, authentication should be always false, so that restricted areas are not accessed. So for example, authenticated is equal to false, this is a variable, and then you will have two areas in the page. If authenticated is equal to false, true, so access that part of the page, otherwise login form, right? So this is just a practice. Booleans are used for decision making actually, mostly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the variables are, so type of fee paid is boolean. If you check it, type of fee paid, yes, type of fee paid, P is capital, so this is boolean. Okay, so boolean can have only two types of values, true or false. So the next thing is null and undefined. These are very tricky ones, null and undefined. So we will do undefined first. actually undefined is an English word, that's why it's a bit confusing. So undefined means this is also data type in JavaScript. Something which is not defined is undefined. A variable which is not defined is undefined.
Null is defined.
So for example, I will comment this out again. So okay, this is not necessary to have a variable defined in one line. You can do it in 2 steps also. So for example, let text rate, and I will end it with semicolon. Okay, now this variable has been defined, but it hasn't been assigned any value right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so if I just check
This is undefined.
type of text rate, this one, so this is undefined, means no value has been assigned to it. If for example I just remove or comment out this, and now if I check type of, with arrow key you can again run the same. So this still says type is undefined, but if I for example use it somewhere, console.log text rate, here console.log text rate, and I check it, so it will, this is separate error, remember, this is text rate is not defined.
Defined, yes.
If you have never used a variable, defined a variable in a page, in a script, and you are using that variable, it will give this red error to you, text rate is not defined. But if you have defined it, for example, if I now you have defined it but you haven't assigned any value to it, and now it will have separate error, undefined, right? So this is the difference. Undefined is a type of data type in.
Yes, sir.
If you have not assigned any value to it,
So that
then it will be undefined. Don't mix it up with not defined and undefined. Okay, this is very confusing actually. The next is, if I first step, if I have done something like this, so the variable is undefined, but in second step I will assign some value to it, so is equal to say 3.4, right?
Yes.
Now its type will be, what will be its type? Number. It's this, and type of text rate is number now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the second one is null. So let roll number is equal to null. For example, there is a new student in the class, and we have defined we have not yet given him any number. We are waiting on the administration to give him some number.
Yes.
Okay, so what we can do is let roll number is equal to null, right? So now this is defined, this variable is defined, not undefined, but its value is null,
Yes.
it's empty sort of.
Excess of an element.
Exactly. So if I just check type of roll number now, type of roll number what is it? Roll number is equal to null. Type of roll number is, this is one of the JavaScript was, people say JavaScript was created in hurry. Okay, so it has so many different things like these which are confusing, but you will get used to them. So let us give it again, roll console.log type of roll number. it is object. Okay, so you can Google about it, but actually you know what null is, what and it is even said that everything in JavaScript is an object. We will study it later on in the course, inshallah. So for now, just take what null means and what undefined means. Okay. We already have studied strings, concatenation and interpolation. Now something
What is interpolation?
that dollar sign and
Yes.
evaluating variables inside string is interpolation. Okay. We have missed equality, so let us study this one, equality, before we jump on to functions. So okay, for example, in equality or whatever, it will be used inside if statements. Okay, so for example, if I ask you var or letter, whatever, var is equal, this is a variable, okay, is equal to, so whatever is on the right side will be evaluated to is equal. Okay, so 11 is less than 12, and if I console dot log is equal, so what will it be? False.
Yes. It will print the false.
True.
11 is less than 12.
Okay. So 11 is less than 12, that's why it's true. If we change it to greater than sign, now it will be false. Okay. Similarly, if 11 is equal to 11, and I will enclose it in small bracket so that you are not getting confused, and equal, this is known as comparison operator, double comparison operator you can call. So 11 is equal to 11, so what are you expecting? True, right? Okay, if I say 11 is equal to this, the string 11 and string 11 and 11, so what will its output be?
False. False.
It will be
11 and 11.
it will be true, because double comparison operator doesn't consider
Consider this
data type.
Yes.
That's why it is 2. It will be true. But if we make it
Three.
3 equal operators, then it will check whatever is on the left side, data type of whatever is on the left side as well as the right. So its data type is number, this one is string, so it will actually it will be false now. So that's why it is said to always check things with triple equal, so that it is 100% compared. This is now false. So double equal to is fine also to compare things, but it will be actually not comparing data types, and triple equal will compare data types also. What if I just use single equal? What it will do? Remember, never use single equals in comparisons. Okay, why? Because single equals is an assignment operator. Whatever is on the right side will be assigned to whatever is on the left side, right? So it will do something else, it won't compare things. So we will not ever use this thing for comparisons. Is this clear? Let me go through the list again if I have missed something. Maybe math.round, but we will do it after we have studied objects, okay? Now into functions. So are you ready for functions, or let it be for the next class? Hmm? Hmm?
Ready, sir. No problem.
How many hands for ready? Okay, this is being recorded, so let us go through it also. Though we will keep on coming back to functions and objects. These are two building blocks of JavaScript.
Yes, sir.
So if we are left with some certain concepts, we will come back always to either functions and objects, okay?
Yes, sir.
Inshallah.
Sir, can we use AND operator or operator?
Yes, but we will use them in if once we are into conditions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mashira Khalili. Okay. Let us create another file and call it functions.js, and I will link this one with functions now. Functions.js. Okay, so what are functions used for? Anybody?
So it's
Perform the specific task.
Yes,
yes, sir.
And we will reuse it.
that's the main purpose. In JavaScript, you can use functions for a lot of purposes. For reusing code, for encapsulation. Encapsulation means that's the same wrapping concept. So, for example, there is a lot of, say, 3,000 line code, and you are not using functions. So you break it down into smaller chunks of code, and you have sort of encapsulated them.
Yes, sir.
So let us start with how we use functions, and there are a lot of ways to define functions in JavaScript. For example, let us, before functions, I just create a variable called name is equal to Salman. Let message is equal to welcome to the JS course. And name and message, and also let these two are fine for now. Now I want to output this in a console.log message, okay? So console.log, both of them together. What I will do? Name and then plus message. Why plus? Because this is concatenation. So I want these two to be concatenated, right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe this is some keyword, so let us name it S name, student name. Okay? So S name is equal to Salman, and message is this, and both of them will be output as two strings with no space. So that's why we need to give some space to Salman. So this is name plus message, and I will use it. So if I open it now in the browser and go to console, so Salman, welcome to the JS course, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, welcome to the JS course. Now again, for example, I want some other name. So what I will do, for example, this will be, and the message is welcome to Drupal course. And now I want this again to be output, so it will be
Change the variable also.
It's name. Net. Yes, sir. Message.
so now Ahmed, welcome to the Drupal course. We can do this, but this is not proper code at all. Okay, these are lines of code, and we need to define separate variables, and this is not controlled. Maybe there are times when some variable is overwritten by another one and the value is different, blah blah. So what we can do is we can create a function, and I will just remove this code for now. So the function is created with function, the name of the function keyword, and then greeting. For example, the name of the function is greeting,
Yes, sir.
then small brackets, and then the curly braces. Okay, so this is known as function definition, or you can call it introducing functions, right? Now we can do the same. So let s name is equal to Salman, and let msg is equal to welcome to the JS course. This is fine.
Yes, sir.
And then I console.log s name plus msg. Now this is a function. Even if you write 1000 lines of code inside a function, if you don't call it, it won't be run. So this all of this code now is encapsulated inside this greeting function, right? So this is just the model of the code which will run. Now in order to run this code, we will call the function, right? So here we will greeting and then this, that's it. This is definition, this is calling. Now the code will be run. Okay, so what this code will do, it will console.log this name and this message, right? So if you refresh, Salman, welcome to the course. Why is there no space? Because we haven't given any space to it, so let us give some space here, right? If I need to run this function again, so I won't copy this code or anything else.
Yes, sir.
I will just call this function again like this, right? Even another time it will be just greeting like this. Now this will be output 3 times.
Yes, sir.
So this so each time I need to run this code, what I will do is I will just call this code.
Call the function.
But what's the problem right now with this approach right now? Do you see any problem?
Name or same.
Exactly.
Procedure name or same.
Exactly. This is, I mean, if I need to have some other name, for example Amir or whatever, so I will create another function. Okay, for example this one, and it will be greeting 2, and the s name will be, okay, one more thing, this is not collision. This function has its own scope means visibility. So this variable is visible to this function, this variable is visible to this function, and these are two separate functions. So we can have the same name, but for now let us change it. So I will make it, for example, Adil, and welcome to Drupal course. Now if I need to run this, what I will do is I will call greeting 2. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Greeting 2, greeting 2, and then the same stuff. So if I go to this, So Adil, welcome to the Drupal course. This function has also been run, and if I run it again it will be Adil. So there is a concept in JavaScript or in any programming that is called DRY, dry concept. Google about it. Okay, dry means don't repeat yourself. Don't. If you end up doing something like this in programming where you are repeating yourself, repeating means you are copying the code and pasting it, and it's almost the same code. This shows you need to do something else. Copying, pasting is not the solution, right? So we'll go back to the initial greeting code, and right now I will for now. So this is known as, these are two. While you are defining a function, you can pass parameters to it. Okay, while defining a function, you will pass parameters to it. So anything can be a parameter. So for example, name, it's a parameter, and message is a parameter. Okay, I have passed two things. This means that this function will input name and message. It will have two inputs.
Yes.
So then you enter into the code, and this is that, or we can call it as name for now. Okay, so these two are now not important. I will just console.log whatever is passed to this function and whatever message is passed to this function. Okay, I will delete this function, the greeting2, and now these are known as parameters, which are used while you are defining a function.
Yes.
The parameter, this is confusing, but just understand, while you are defining a function, it is called parameters.
Yes, sir.
If I am wrong, please let me know then. And once you are calling function, so this function now, if you are calling it, understands that it will we will need to pass two values to it.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so these are now called arguments. Once you are passing something to a function, this is argument. Once you are defining a function and passing something into it, so those are called parameters. So right now we'll pass it two values. So what name is Salman, and the other one is, because this is text, so we are enclosing it inside quotation marks, and welcome to the JS course, right? So what we have done, we have created a function, and we have said to the function that there will be two values passing to you, and then we are just console.logging those two values. So this is function now knows whenever I am called, it will have two values. So we are calling it now here, and it has two values, this text and this text, right? So if we check it again, we need some space. So in this case we can use space here. Okay, now it has been called one time. Okay, again if I copy and now I make it Adil, welcome to Drupal course. And similarly, if I call it third time, so welcome to PHP course. Do you see any improvement in this code? So each time function is called, separate variables are passed into it, which are called arguments, and the same code is run over and over again. Is this fine? We can improve it a bit more as well, but let us leave it for now. Okay, so let us recap. Once you are defining a function, or declaring a function, these two values are called parameters. It means two values will be passed to something, this function, once it is called. And so once it is called, we can those values directly to the parameters, right? Okay, so let us create another function. Function sum, and it will have, for example, if we pass 3 values to it, it will add all of those 3 values, right? So for example, A, B and C, these are the names of the variables which will be passed to this function. So these are parameters actually. So within this function, what this means is we have defined a function called sum, and it will have 3 values, A, B, C. It can be anything, okay? A, B, C are just the placeholders for this. So what we will do, console.log, what we will do is A plus B plus C, and that's it. So now I have defined a function which means it will have 3 values, and it will console.log those 3, whatever are the names of the variables here, they are accessible inside the function. Okay, now as I told you previously, whatever is the code inside a function, it will never run unless you call it. So calling a function is sum, this, and then I will pass it 3 values. Okay, so for example 5, 10 and 90, these are 3 values inside it, and this. So what do you expect now in console? 105. Good. Now if I need to pass call this function again with a separate, so what I will do, so 10, 15, 20, 45. Good. So what function do is it sort of reuses your code, and if you need to call it again and again, you can. One thing, we are not passing it A, B or C. These are just in sample. I mean, while you are declaring your function, these are variables A, B and C. It lets you know that there will be 3 inputs to the function, and then it is output. This calling is known as, this is known as calling.
Can you use return?
Exactly, we are just moving on towards return. Okay, so return is a function. This is console.log is just showing it in the console. We are not able to do anything with it right now. So return statement inside a function means that you give output of the function to some variable. You can assign that to some variable. So for example here, console.log, we will change it to return for now. Return A plus B and plus C. So what does this do? This means once this function is run, the sum of these 3 values will be returned. Return means it's like the output. Okay, right now we were just outputting it in console.log to just show what it was doing, but now if this is run, so it will output something. Let output 1 is equal to this, and if this one is let output 2 is equal to this. So what does this mean? Once this function is now called, the output is being returned. Return means it will output its value rather than showing it in console. So once it is output, it is assigned to this variable. Okay, so now output 1 is has some value which is actually the return of this function. Output 2 is the return value of this function. Okay, so these are 2 things. If we, in case for a third time, we will output 3 is equal to sum, and we will pass it values like this, whatever. So if we are not returning anything, so the output will be lost, right? Like we can't do anything with that. But now return means you can use a function and catch its output, right? What's the formula for finding percentage of, say, FSC students?
Marks divided by multiplied by total marks divided by
Mass divided by total marks?
multiply by 100 divided by total marks.
Okay,
Multiply by 100 divided by total.
Divided by total. Yes.
let us do that as a function. So for example, we will create a function and call it a percentage finder, right? Now I want the percentage finder to have two inputs, total marks and obtained marks. So total marks, obtained marks, right? Now these two variables are accessible inside this function, right? So we will return, we can console.log also, but that function won't be any practical one. So return what's the percentage total sorry, obtained marks, marks divide, for divide we use slash, divided by total marks, and for multiply we use star 100. Okay, and we can use a obtained. Okay, obtained is O is smaller, and just for clarity sake, so that there are no errors, we can use the bracket, so that this one is evaluated first and then this. Is this fine? So this is now a percentage finder is just a function which accepts two parameters, total marks and obtained marks, and it will divide this on this and return. Return means the output will be returned, right? Now again, if a function is good enough and you haven't called it, it won't work. So now the time is to run this function. So percentage finder, it will accept, for example, somebody has taken 670 marks, total marks are 1100 and he has taken 670, right? Just we will pass two values into it and this, but the return is in the air again, it won't do anything. So we can assign that to a variable. So let percentage equals percentage finder this and console.log percentage. Now hopefully we will have some percentage, 60 point this, right?
Yes.
Okay, if you see it has so many characters after numbers after dot, right? We can makes it rounded as well. Do you know what is rounded? Round to two characters and something like this. So there is a built-in function of the object math. Okay, math dot round. So we can use that and pass percentage to it. So math dot round, and this is a function. We'll go back to it once we have studied this, and maybe two decimal places. The second one is this. So it has been rounded to 61. You can pass one function into another as well. We will study that tomorrow because the class already has got very big, large. So for now, we have studied how functions return values, and one thing you need to know, return is the last, after return no code is run. So for example, if I type a lot of things here, what else, maybe something inside here, let sum 2 is equal to 10, for example, whatever. So even JS code will show this is unreachable code.
Yes, sir.
Unreachable code means whenever JavaScript or any other language sees return, it won't run any code after return. Return means the functionality has ended.
Yes.
Here. So this, if you type something after return, that will never be run. Okay. So what we have studied today, in fact a lot of stuff. It was we started with using script tags, variables, data types, and concatenation, interpolation with backticks, operators, and we will go back to objects tomorrow and functions too. As I said, these are the building blocks of JavaScript, and we'll keep on moving back to those concepts. And then functions. So we'll continue objects and functions tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.